Hey y'all, this is Fully the Learn to Grow guy. Guys, I gotta tell you, I've been starting a lot of chit lately. Check it out. See that? My potatoes are chitting. They're chitting. These are purple chittings from potatoes. Check them out. Okay, what I'm preparing to do now is I'm actually preparing to plant my potato plants for the year. If anybody understands what this is a red Pontiac potato that I grew last year. And well, by the way, I'm still eating my potatoes. Okay, they may be a little soft, but nonetheless, they're still edible. All right, the purple ones, the red Pontiacs. Well, these are the last of the red Pontiacs. Whoa, including these here, which were some Kennebec potatoes that I grew last year. Okay, I'm still eating them. They may be a little soft, but nonetheless, I'm still eating them. But anyway, going back to this here. It looks like the red Pontiacs are actually starting to grow some baby potatoes on the chits. That's exactly what this looks like. Look at that. Check it out. You see that? Even those have little baby chitting eyes. Well, I don't know how you'd call them, but nonetheless, they're chitting, and the chits. I gotta wash my mouth here, okay? I really gotta wash my mouth, okay? But the chits are having some babies, and the babies, it looks like the babies are trying to chit in their eye. They got chits in their eyes also. Guys, I got my tongue, okay? My tongue here, okay? Okay, so anyway, here's what I've been doing. I've been cutting some of these potatoes. Well, Philippe, why are you cutting the potatoes and having them face the sun? Well, I'm cutting them because I want them to develop a scar over there. You see what I'm saying? Because when they're freshly cut, it's wet, and odds are parasites or whatever it is that's under the ground can actually try to get to them, especially those wire worms that I hate so much. Odds are they'll try to get to them, and in getting to them, this would be a good place for bad, I don't know, bad, how you call those, bad parasites, some whatever diseases that may try to get into here. They may try to get in through these areas here on the potatoes, okay? This has been out here for maybe a half an hour or so. I'm going to let these scar up. I need them to scar up a little bit so that I can put them in the ground and I can be more comfortable knowing that various things will not mess with them. However, these smaller potatoes here, okay, I'm going to go ahead and start planting some of those, okay? And these are the same scenario. I'm trying to let them scar up so before I plant them. However, these smaller potatoes I will be planting, all right? And the same thing applies to the Kennebecs. Again, I'm letting them do what they got to do, but the smaller ones like this one, with all of its chit. I love this potato, man. Even though it has all these chits, man. Okay, the small ones I will be planting those. Okay, let's take a look at the garden. Okay, here's what I've got. I've got 3 holes dug, and down this row, I've actually gone down this row and I've put some potatoes out. I still have the rest of the smaller potatoes to put out. I'm spacing them this year about a foot apart. I think last year I had them every 2 feet, but this year I'm going every foot apart. So this entire row is going to be for my purple potatoes, and odds are this one will be for the red Pontiacs, and they'll be the Kennebecs. Looks like this year I'm only going to be planting 1 row each of these potatoes. I mean, this is mid-March of 2025 from last year. I still have potatoes now. I think we did pretty good last year. Maybe I'll do, I don't know, maybe I'll do 2 rows of the same again. We'll see. But nonetheless, that's what I'm looking at. I'm going with the purple potatoes, and basically what I'm doing is this. I'm digging a hole, and I put potato inside hole. Now, over here I've got 2 potatoes here. That's only because they're small, but I'm thinking that, yeah, as long as they get plenty of sunlight and whatever nutrients is in the ground. And speaking of nutrients in the ground, I did spread some of this stuff all on top of each of my beds, going, each of these 6 beds, okay? I also put some of this stuff around some of the fruit trees at the bases before I cover them up with some compost. So I've used some of this stuff here. It's got feathers and all this other slow release stuff in it, that I guess they get from chickens and such. But I did put some on top of the beds here. And I'm not sure. No, don't think that's it. Anyway, I did put some on top of each of the beds, and I'll just let things work its way into the soil the way that it needs to work it, okay? I'm going to start with this last one here. You basically want to go as deep as possible, okay? And I mean, I've got these mounds here. These mounds are at least a foot high. Okay, they're at least, so each of these mounds are at least a foot high. Each of the rows are at least a foot high. Okay. And with that said, you want to plant your potatoes as deep as you can. And the reason I say that is because even though they're going to send up the little plants, you know, these little chitting thing, they're so chitty. Okay, I got to get off that word. All right, so even though they're going to send all that stuff up, of course you're going to have potatoes that may grow along the sides of those sprouts. Here, I got a couple that fell out. Even the potatoes will grow along the sides here. And that means that I probably have to try to do some healing. This year I'm going to use some leftover hay, some straw that I had gotten from Brother Jose. The little bit I have left is what I'm going to be using. And I'm going to try to cover all these things up so that as they come up, the potatoes will not be exposed to sunlight and therefore start to go green on me. Okay. So anyway, you want to put these as deep as you can. Okay. And let them do their thing. All right. Last year I planted my potatoes all in March, and I know that the temperature is going to be dropping to possibly the 30s, so I'll probably be clipping all of these, the tops of every last one of these that's sticking up like that. And the reason for that is that I just don't want anything just dying and then working its way back to the potato. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be doing with these here. Heck, small. Let's try this now. Yeah, I left my little snippers in Texas with my daughter. Hang on. See, hey, magic, right? Okay, this is another reason why you need to have more than one of every tool that you have, okay? And like I said, what I'm doing is, and this is not the ones that I was looking for, but nonetheless, that's still one of those shears or whatever to cut, to cut the little limbs and such. Okay, so I'm just taking these off because I don't want any cold weather or anything getting to these, okay? And actually, you can probably do that like on the back of like I have on the back of the truck where I've got the stuff cut. You could probably do that there, or if you want, worst case scenario, you can always cut the chit all the way off, just pluck it off, but either way it goes, well, no, if you pull the whole thing off, unless you have other eyes, you're not going to get a crop out of it. So, but that's the basic idea, y'all. Dig a nice little deep hole. Okay, and this is not a little short thing. You saw how deep it was earlier. Go as deep as you can go. All right, and put your potato in there, preferably with some of the chits sticking up. Well, it's starting to cave in already. So, and give it the old cover up. Okay, I know this is not a political talk show, but yeah, I guess I will just put one of these in there, let it do what it's going to do. But here we go. Again, you want to go as deep as you can. And put your little plant in there. Chit and all. And if you don't want the thing to grow so tall above the ground before the freeze. Yeah, this is not as sharp as I was hoping. Not like the little one that I left in Texas. Yeah, anyway. Okay. And give him a little pat. Okay. So now the question is, that was the second time now, okay? Don't miss that. Okay. Now that I've got these potatoes planted, what do I do with all this chit? Y'all take care, y'all.